You want video? You want to, huh?
Well, just so that you know, it's video it for when the,
Oh, okay.
if it starts to run out. Do you mind if we
Oh,
do
no,
that?
no.
I don't know how to work the stand though, really.
Hey, you can take it.
And I tried. I don't know how. I don't want to break it.
Hold it.
Oh,
Just as long as the voice is on there.
okay.
It just after when it gets done.
Am I on?
Not yet. Oh wait, yeah, no, you are.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, okay.
cute, awesome.
Oh, good.
There you are. Look alive.
All right. So why is establishing a need important?
So you can figure out what you're gonna do?
Yeah, it gives you a path, right? So sometimes when we skip over the consultation, what happens is you miss out on a lot of opportunities that are placed. And the reason why we do a consultation is to really break down any objections, right? What are some objections that we face sometimes behind the chair? Let's particularly use the example of retail.
No, because then we
Can
can't
you,
turn.
can you repeat that again? Because
Yeah.
this one over here.
Well, I'm figuring out what to do. Oh.
So
Talking about the business.
if somebody has an objection around retail, what's a common thing that they may say?
Too
They're not-
expensive.
Too expensive.
Okay, right? So price. So there's three things that I usually hear a lot. One is price. What's another one?
Like objection to what? Like
Basically them saying no. So if you try and position retail,
I already have some at home.
I have something on it, right?
Yeah.
So we
Oh, so we're
call it-
talking about retail.
Yeah.
We're not talking about area.
Like
Not
excuses
retail.
that your clients give you that they won't buy the product.
Alright, price.
So we call it the box of broken dreams, right? I have a bunch of products at home, like you've already sold me stuff in the past, it's all sitting underneath my kitchen, my bathroom sink, right? So they already have stuff. What else? Usually one last one that I usually hear too.
Too expensive.
Too
That
expensive?
Next time.
My sister-in-law is a hairdresser.
Okay. So they're gonna find other means to
Yeah.
buy it, right? Whether it's online or they have a connection somewhere. But for the
Amazon.
purpose of this, I'm gonna
Yeah.
the version.
How many times I hear that? I'll just get on Amazon. Okay.
Sure.
I mean, whatever.
So when I look at objections, I always kind of analyze to see, okay, is it a true objection or is it more of a soft no? Is it something that I can overcome and figure out how to just communicate differently so that they can see what I see? Or are these true objections I can't get over? Are any of these hard objections?
I think the price is
Okay, why?
when it's like $40-something for a shampoo, your customer's already doesn't wanna. They just don't wanna spend it. They're already spending $45 just say for a haircut.
Sure.
They don't wanna spend that.
Okay. So let's use an example because I see where you're going, but I disagree respectfully. Okay.
That's fine.
So what happens is, I think because, and I'm the same way, I grew up in this industry, so I've been used to getting quality products either free off my mom's retail shelves, which she's so happy I have this position now because I'm no longer doing that, or I've gotten it at a deep discount, right? So I've never paid full price for any products. So even for me sometimes, looking at it, would I spend $30 on shampoo? I don't know. I've never been in that situation. But what I'll tell you is I'll easily spend $40 on a good handle of whiskey, right? So everyone has their things that they have a line in the sand that say, you know what, I'm going to trade down on this object or this product, but I'm going to trade up on this side of things, right? Our goal is to get your client to want to trade up with retail, okay? Let's use this analogy or this example. Has anyone spent good money on makeup?
I spend good money on my face
Okay.
wash.
Face wash, stuff like that? Okay. So what's the most you've ever spent in one sitting, either on skincare products or makeup?
$300.
$200. I spent on my face stuff on like 2
$300?
products.
Okay. In that example, did you have help at the counter, or was it just something you purchased on your own?
Both.
Okay. So in that moment, if someone's actually going through all those things with you and they're showing you, this is going to complement your cheekbones, it's going to draw out your eyes, it's going to heighten your skin tone, they're selling you on the product, right? And for whatever reason, in that moment, you decided that you were going to drop $300 for products, whether you had the money in your account to cover it or not, right? So what happens is they're able to establish a need in your mind that all of a sudden now price no longer becomes an objection.
But don't you feel, but isn't that kind of like a one-time thing? Like, yeah, you spend that $300 at one time, but would you really do it again?
You want them
I
to
don't know.
love
Right
it.
away?
Would you-
Probably
would you-
not,
Yeah.
right?
Bits and
Probably not
pieces,
at bits and pieces,
like, you know,
right,
run
here and
foundation on
there. and-
Yeah.
first.
So,
But if you love it, then.
Well, that's it, you want them to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's finding the right one that they love.
Yep.
And
Right.
that sometimes is fun because you
You
don't, you don't have that type of hair, so you go and buy the other girls and
Sure.
then they come back and say,
yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah,
And I'm
you
not gonna
want them
spend
to come
40
back
bucks
and-
again. So
So
forget it.
that's another topic too. So because one of the things to establish, because why I look at retail as being so important is that it establishes trust with you and your client. That's the reason why I think it's important to make sure we're retailing to our clients, because we're trying to establish a trust, and it's actually one of the only points we can establish that trust is through retail. Okay? What a client's telling you though is if they come back in and they didn't like it the first time, my job is not only to sell it to them once, but I gotta sell it on again. So first I gotta not just jump from what I prescribed the first time, but let's go through it. When are you using it? At what point during your hair being wet or dry are you using it? Are you using a blow dryer with it? Like I'm actually gonna go through because in the salon when I use on you, I know your hair responded really well because you bought the product after that moment, right? So are you doing something different at home? Let's just revisit this and go through it. And then still, if it's not working, that's why we guarantee all our products. They can bring it back to, I don't know if you have this policy, but they can bring it back to you, and we actually will credit you at all
Yeah.
for those products.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, we didn't know that part.
Yeah.
I did, I knew that.
Yep. No, we will. So we stand behind all of our products, and I think that's, and even with that policy, we get so little returns back in that situation.
Well, I'll tell the clients, I go give it a chance. I go, as long as the bottle's not 3/4 of the way gone, we'll still take it back for
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I say, as long
Sure.
as, you know, it's not all the way gone,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wanna,
You
you
got
know.
fifty
You,
Yeah.
you can't come back in and be like, I hated it. Can I have another one? You know.
You take it back
Yeah.
and credit?
Yep. And a couple of our manufacturers are good about helping us with that too, but it just, I think that's one of the benefits of buying professional products from a salon too, is because we stand behind it so that you guys can stand behind it too and not worry about a client not liking it for that reason, and obviously just going through it too, so yeah, so we do. So here's the thing, is that my philosophy behind selling retail is all about establishing a need in the client's mind. And I think what happens is sometimes we get so emotionally connected with our clients that we allow the emotion of the experience to sometimes change how we act to them as a stylist. Meaning that if they come in and we have all this dialogue around their husband being laid off or their kids going off to college, I'm broke, and then all of a sudden it's our job to now be the professional stylist and recommend product, but we're afraid to do that because we don't want to be pushy and we're told that they have no money, right? So it makes it so much harder for us to be able to do our job and educate the clients when someone's crying broke to us. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So how I get away from that is, one, you got to keep the conversation professional, right? You got to try and veer away from that dialogue because it makes your job so much harder in that sense, right? Why does a client come to you?
Because they like the way we style. Cut.
Sometimes.
We
They just
offer
like
a
your
service.
personality.
Sometimes.
We offer something. We possess a skill that they don't.
So the technical side of it.
Yeah.
Do you think
We're
that?
psychiatrists.
What's that?
We're psychiatrists.
You can be, but
Well, we
actually.
listen and don't judge, and we don't, because we're not like close to them
Sure.
in that.
So remember, everything I'm going to do today, I'm going to challenge your thoughts. So just know I'm going to shake things up a little bit, right? So just follow me in the process of this. So my whole reasoning of why I exist and stay in this business and why I do what I do is because I have a deep love and passion for this industry. And one of the things that I'm constantly trying to do is change the stereotype of a hairdresser. What's the stereotype of a hairdresser?
Yeah.
We're just dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know anything.
We're just
Don't know
hairdresser,
anything.
we're just, whatever.
This was a backup career,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You didn't want to go to college.
Yeah. It's because
Well, that was me, I
Because
did
you were
not.
smart enough.
I
Bubblegum
wasn't smart
chewing
enough
behind the
about
chair,
it.
psychology, right?
Yeah.
I am the stereotype.
I know. So, again, my passion comes from this. My mom's a hairdresser, my sister's a hairdresser. I have 3 kids, at least one, if not all 3, will probably be hairdressers. So I think hairdressers are better than that. And are there always outliers? Are there people that fit into that? Of course. Just like any other industry, there's always going to be people in that category. But here's the thing, is how we start to challenge that stereotype is we got to start elevating our game. Okay? There's a Facebook picture that goes around. I haven't seen it in a while, thank God, but there's different pictures and it says what my mom thinks I do, what my dad thinks I do, what my uncle thinks I
Society
do,
thinks I do.
society
Yeah.
thinks I do,
Fine.
and
What
what I
I
actually
do.
do. And the picture is actually them being a psychologist. I'm like, God damn it, that kills me. I absolutely. People should share it. Like all the stylists in my network were sharing. Like, stop sharing this picture because that's not us, right? It's not our job to be psychologists. Our goal is to make someone feel better, 100%. But we got to do that through educating, empowering them with the techniques and the skills that we teach them, right? We got to lift them up emotionally. But that's not our job to go through and actually give advice on life skills. That's not what our degree is in. That's not what our career is actually meant for. Make sense? So when I go back to the price objection, there's a way that I look at recommending products. And to me, everything has to emotionally be engaged for the client to want to buy. If you can get someone to emotionally be engaged in retail, I guarantee you they're going to buy and they're going to continue to buy, and that's how that relationship, that loyalty continues to be grown on, right? So the theory is called the golden circle. And the golden circle was developed by a guy named Simon Sinek. He's a great motivational coach and business development figure in society. And his whole concept is basically the way that we communicate dictates how the person's going to respond to a sale. So if you go in with a really hard sale around the features and the products, immediately a consumer says, I understand you're trying to sell me something, and either I want it or I don't want it. Right? There's no gray area in that. They just decide in that moment whether they like where you're going with this or they don't like it. Follow me? So the idea is instead what you want to do is you want to start with the why. You want to get them to emotionally feel that sales process differently. So if you lead with, so what are some of the challenges that you have at home? Here's what I see in your hair. I see that your hair maybe could have a little more shine. Do you agree? Do you think that your hair could be a little bit stronger? Have you noticed that you've been having some more breakage and that's been a challenge for you? So I'm trying to get them to emotionally feel that challenge. Make sense? Then what I do is I get to the point where I explain why that thing is happening in their hair. So if they do have a challenge, let's say we're at a summertime, right? So what happens to people's hair in the summertime?
Gets light, dry.
Gets light, gets
Build up.
dry, maybe a little brittle. There's some buildup possibly from being in the pool and things like that. They've gone through a lot of environmental changes and stress. So they're lacking protein. And what happens in the fall is everyone changes their hair color to what color?
Dark.
Dark, right? So what's the likeliness of the hair color being as vibrant as it possibly could if there's a lack of protein in their hair?
It's gonna be dull.
It's going to be dull, right? It's not going to hold as well. So what we do is we talk to them about breakage, we talk to them about the damage that they've had throughout the summertime, and then I explain why that happens. And their hair goes through all that environmental stress, and their hair starts to lose that protein. So my job today is I need to put protein back into your hair so that your color holds better and that you have more vibrancy and longevity throughout your color service. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use the Loma Fortifying Tonic. It uses a creatine protein. It's going to bind to the hair. And it's going to allow the color to actually hold better. It also uses cranberry oil, and cranberry oil actually helps deliver the color molecule a little bit deeper to the cortex of the hair. Bam. Okay? So what I did is I got them to emotionally feel it. I explained what that challenge was, and then I sold them the product.
What was that product?
Loma Fortifying Tonic.
Anyone use that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've used it on my clients.
So
That
what
was
you do-
those little itty bitty samples
Yep,
that
the
we got
minis.
on for us, the minis that we were giving away to clients that we thought it was good for. That's what those
Yes,
were.
you want?
So if you use it in the service, just for your knowledge, you just add a little bit to the actual color bowl and mix it in. No extra processing time, there's no downtime, you don't have to change your formula or timing or anything, and that will just help the color work better. So it's actually an opportunity to upcharge if you build your average service ticket also. We do run a promotion for September, October. We recommend the Evolve salons do it, so it's not too late to start something like that if you guys want to do it as well. Yeah, absolutely. So the whole concept is that you want to just start with that need. If you establish a need in the client's mind, all of a sudden now, these price objections and all these objections become obsolete. It doesn't matter anymore because they've got the idea to actually emotionally engage themselves to whatever you're trying to sell them. Okay? Have you ever sat in a sales process where someone's done that to you? Maybe you don't recognize it now, but I'm sure it's happened. There's been a moment where someone actually got you emotionally engaged in whatever they were selling, and then through that you bought something. Okay, that's the best approach to do it, because also what it does is it gets them, they have more of like you care about me type of concept, opposed to you're trying to sell me. Make sense? One of the companies that really uses this model well is Apple. Are you guys all familiar with Apple?
Yes.
All right. So what's great about Apple?
I'm not an Apple user. So
Neither am I.
I'm anti-Apple.
Man.
You picked the wrong one.
So
I love everything about it.
why?
I don't know.
You think it's
You
easy?
don't know, right?
I've heard Apple is easy. It's
Yeah.
it's
Especially if you
Yeah.
have like the Apple
love
TV
my
and the
iPad.
Apple and it all
Mhm.
connects
Yeah.
together.
So here's the thing. There's no proof that Apple's actually better than anything else in the
Right.
market right now. Sometimes they actually say that it's not the best option. Right? Samsung Galaxy came out,
That's what we all
and
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people say is the best one out there.
Right.
But here's the thing, you talk to an Apple user, someone who believes in the company concept of
like-
what they stand for,
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're
absolutely
like,
not,
nope.
right? They
Nope.
totally disagree.
Mm-hmm.
That's because Apple has done a really, really good job effectively communicating their message through their why. So because Apple is the way they are, because Steve Jobs was kind of a revolutionist as far as how we communicate with people, he doesn't just talk about the product. That's always the last thing they talk about. What they talk about first is the company mission. So if Apple was like everyone else, they'd say, yeah, we make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? It's okay, but it's not super compelling, right? Instead, Apple says, everything that we do, we challenge the status quo. We challenge what it is to be in this industry, right? The way we challenge the status quo is we make our products simple to use, user-friendly, and beautifully designed. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one?
No.
But again, so Apple also knows that they're not for everyone.
Yeah.
They're not trying to be the everyone product. But when they find their niche of people, they're loyal beyond reason. And that's what they're going after. So when you communicate with someone like this, it's not going to work for everybody, but the people that it does work for, it's going to get them so emotionally engaged that they're stuck with you for life. And this is how you, not only with retail, but everything you are, if you always move in this direction, it gets them more engaged in what you're doing. Make sense? So don't go right in with the feature and benefits as the short end of the story. You really want to start with the why behind it. Because I think sometimes we just forget to explain why they need what they need, and that's sometimes just a missing link. If you can explain that need a little bit differently, all of a sudden they have that aha moment, and now maybe they're more compelled to want to buy. We think that we did a job explaining it, but maybe we didn't fully get them engaged with what we were talking about. Make sense? So these objections around price, I don't look at price as actually a real objection, because to me, when you actually look at what they're spending, when they're getting a premium product that's lasting them 6 to 8 weeks, for $30 for a shampoo, they may be spending $60 for the set, right? That's lasting them 8 weeks. I go through whiskey usually every 2 weeks, right? That's $40, $50.
In case you're a little dry
Oh,
from
thank you.
last night,
Yeah,
from the
thank-
whiskey.
I had delay at the airport, so. So that's the thing, is sometimes when you break it down to what they're actually paying, it's really not that much, right? You just gotta change what they think about as far as being expensive to not expensive. And again, if it's about the need, it doesn't matter. Price is only if it's a subjective objection, okay? The box of broken dreams.
That's one of my biggest things.
You hear that?
Yeah.
So, same thing, if I establish a need though in their mind, I'm always going to refer back to that. I understand you have a lot of stuff at home, but you're still telling me you have a lot of challenges with your hair. So here's the thing. Let's go over what you really should be using and try and just put you on the right track from there. It's our job as stylists to be professionals, right? To really recommend and educate our clients on why products are going to be good for them. So if you sold them the box of broken dreams, then you need to make sure you go over what you've sold them in the past and the why behind it. I had a stylist, she used to do this every 6 months, and hopefully she still does. She's actually in a different salon now. But I loved her approach, because what she did every 6 months is she actually did print out everything she sold her clients. She was one of the top retailers in the salon. And every 6 months she'd actually have all the products that they bought over the last 6 months on her station. And she'd say, okay, Julie, this is everything we've used on you in the last 6 months and things that you've actually purchased from the salon. What do you love? What do you hate? What did you have forgotten how to use or don't use? Let's work through that today. What's that client thinking?
Wow, she really pays attention.
Yeah, she pays attention. She cares about me. She wasn't trying to make just a sale. She really cares about how my hair is going to respond at home. Okay, that's what we're trying to do, is really get them to see a different side of who we are as professionals. All right. And what happen out of that is the client actually bought several products that day that she did it. So the month that she did that every 6 months, her month's retail was always the highest during that time. And you would think it wouldn't be, because you're showing them everything they bought for the last 6 months, so they might get a little scared that they've spent that much money with you. But what they realize is, oh, I used to love this product, and I ran out of it, and I forgot how much I used to love it. So we just got them back on that train. Okay? So revisit it if that happens. Or just always refer back to the challenge. If you didn't sell them the box of broken dreams, well, here's my professional recommendation. Based off the information you just told me, the challenges you're having, this should be your regimen at home. We're going to work through each one of these products today so you really get comfortable doing it at home on your own. Okay? Diversion. Right? It's a really, it's a challenge. It's a challenge in our industry. Where does diversion happen?
It happens when salons close and they're just trying to sell off all their products.
Sometimes.
The social media, I mean, whoa, that diversion, like, you can just buy it anywhere.
Amazon.
I
You
have
didn't
trouble with
buy it
that. I
anywhere.
have a few people that
We have a
that
lot
just
of
get it
people.
cheaper at Amazon.
I don't think it's necessarily cheaper.
It is, well,
I mean,
That's
I've
right.
checked,
Usually it's- yeah, usually it's
it's
not.
not,
Yeah.
it's the same price, but they're getting points, they're getting, you know, like,
Sure.
with their,
no,
all
I've
these,
heard
you know what I
like
mean?
$50 cheaper.
Really?
Before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
see, I've actually looked up before and it was the same
Yeah,
price.
She just
Every
found
once in a
it,
while,
she
they
just
might come
rebought it and
across
found it
something.
again, cause
Really?
yeah, everyone's like, she won't find
I wonder
the
if it's
price again.
coming from like,
And then people say
China.
I said it might be retired,
Well-
she's like, it works
then-
fine.
So we can use scare tactics, because that's sometimes the route that we take, and
people
it
don't, some
does
people
happen.
don't care though.
Some people don't care.
I was
Right.
gonna
They
say,
yeah.
what I've seen is I'll look up the products. I had one client that said that she bought it online, so
Yeah.
I said, okay, so I pulled up my phone and I researched it. And I said, you see the packaging? She goes, yeah. Well, that packaging's from like 4 years ago when we first got the line.
Mhm.
Just so you know, these products are all natural and aloe based, so therefore the longevity doesn't have all the preservatives.
Sure.
Right.
So it's not gonna work the same.
There's a
on your
shelf
hair.
life.
There is a shelf life.
Yeah.
I go on. If you look on the back, there's a little heart that says 12 months.
Mhm.
I go, and that's exactly how
Yeah.
long it lasts, and that's why it smells weird and stuff like that.
So there's definitely a side, and like you said, there's some of the lines that just don't care. They think they're getting a
Right.
bargain, so they're just going to take that approach.
They just see the, the Euphoria name on it, and they're like, oh, it's perfect, and they're
So
washing their hair with
here's
like
my
Elmer's
suggestion
glue.
how you overcome it. I am a type of consumer that if you spend time teaching me something new, I'm going to buy from you, even if I can get it somewhere a little bit cheaper. Right? Not all consumers are like that, but there is a large amount of consumers that are like that. So my goal is to focus all my time and energy on that. Okay? Know that there's going to be sometimes people that just buy online. It's kind of out of your control. But don't let that be your objection that you get too hung up on. Because in our mind, we think tons of people are doing it. And the reality is a lot more people that just aren't buying retail at all. Because we haven't gone through all these steps to talk to them about it. Right? So when I look at diversion, it's the same thing. It's always back to that need, establishing need in the client's mind. And if I can teach them something about the product that they didn't know already, and work and spend a little more time on them, I'm most likely going to get a sale out of them. So if they say, I could never get my fringe to move in the direction that you can. My bangs always just fall flat. I wish I could brush them off to the side like you do. Great. So what you're telling me is you struggle with this, right? So during the blow dry today, what I'm going to have you do is I want you to show me how you do it at home, and then I'm going to help correct you. I'm going to teach you how to do it a little bit differently, and I'm also going to use Bodybuilder. Bodybuilder is one of the products that actually help have that nice resin to it, so it's going to really help mold and shape the hair and keep it in place. Adds great shine. It's going to help protect your hair from UV damage. So I'm actually going to use that today and show you how to work with it too. So if I'm spending all that time, do you think she's going to most likely buy from me now? If I just said, this is Bodybuilder, or if I just put it in her hair, and she liked the smell and liked what it did, that's when she's going to go buy online. But if I actually took the time to go through all of the objections and all the challenge she has with her hair, plus I sold her a product, she's going to buy from me. Make sense?
Yep.
So all three of these are soft no's. There's ways to get around it, but everything goes back to establishing need. If you do that, you're easily going to get them to buy the product. Got me?
Yeah.
Okay. So in a consultation, there's three things that I look to communicate. And the first one is all around the retail. So we just kind of covered that. Okay? And like I said, retail is important because what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish a different type of relationship at that point with the clients. Modern Salon actually puts this out every couple of years. Which says basically if you sell one product to your client, you have a 30% retention rate, 2 products 60%, 3 products 90% or more. Okay, so what retail actually does is you're trying to create a deeper sense of loyalty and trust with your client. That's why retail is important. It's not about commission, it's not about your how much money you can make off it as a stylist, because that's really not the end game here. The end game is really to create that bridge and that relationship with them. Okay? What's if you look at YouTube, the most viewed videos on YouTube, what do you think they are?
How to do like a certain hairstyle or
The how-tos, right?
The how-tos.
So it's all the tutorials. Who's teaching those tutorials?
14-year-old girl.
That burn the
They're
side
not
of their hair
stylists,
off.
right? So what's that tell us? Thank you. Okay. So what that tells me is that clients are desperately seeking information, and what they're doing, because we don't want to talk to them about products, we don't want to be pushy, right? Because that's usually what I hear too, and I want to push products. We don't even communicate it with them, we don't teach them about their hair. So they leave here, they love how they look, they want to recreate it, they go online, and then the 14-year-old's teaching them how to do it and burning their hair off with a curling iron, right? So that's what I'm trying to overcome right now. We need to get back to communicating, we need to get back to being a professional stylist. And again, I'm not calling anybody out, we all fall into whatever you fall into, but I know there's always room for opportunities to be better. I know that we can be better as stylists. If a stylist tells you they want to take you home, have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do we do when we hear that?
You
I
can
said-
afford to take me home.
I usually say, can you cook?
I usually ask if I can bring my dog.
Nice. So in our minds, we kind of pat ourselves on the back, right? We're so good that the client wants to take us home.
But not really.
Not really, right? I'm going to get you to see a different side of that. You're probably going to like me after this. But whenever a client says that and you hear that in the salon from someone, think about this. What they're actually telling you is when they leave here, they're struggling with their hair. They're not happy, they're frustrated. So in that case, are we fully doing our job as professionals? No, right? So the way I would respond to that, if they said that to me, I'd say, thank you, I appreciate that because that means that I'm doing a great job here. But what I'm not doing a good job is I'm not informing you how to recreate this at home. And you should be able to recreate this to an extent on at least to make you feel comfortable and confident so that you're not struggling with your hair when you leave the salon. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm really going to educate you on the products you should be using, and I'm going to make sure I'm teaching you each step when I'm blow drying and finishing so you really feel comfortable doing it at home. What's the client thinking?
All right.
She cares about that, right? So again, we're changing the perception of the client. It's not about them having to buy retail, it's because we care about them, right? How do you think you get good at delivering that message to a client?
Practice.
Practice, right? How'd you get good at cutting?
Practice.
Practice. The one thing that we don't practice enough in our industry is our words and our delivery. What I've noticed in the 10 years of doing this, the people at the top of their game, the best stylists out there, they're not necessarily the best from a technical standpoint. They're not the best cutters, they're not the best colorists. What they're really, really good at is they talk better than anybody else. They talk the talk,
Yeah.
right? So you can, sometimes you have someone in the salon that's like that, and you're like, why are they growing as much as they're growing? I see their work, it's not that great. Hopefully I'm not calling anybody out here. But what the idea is that they're getting to emotionally feel something that you're missing out on. They're so calculated on their approach and how they communicate with their client that the client's engaged more with them than they are with you. Okay? When I first started teaching classes like this, do you think I was good at it? No, it was horrible. I remember my first one started when I first started 10 years ago. It was a salon in Newburyport. There was like 2-3 stylists in there. It was supposed to be a half-an-hour class. I think I lasted 5 minutes. I was drenched when I left there. I would eat bread the whole entire time. And I just sat in my car. I'm like, I don't even know what it is said to them. But instead of saying, I'm gonna let the fear overcome me, I'm just gonna not be good at this. I said, this is something I think is important, and I'm gonna keep getting better. So I kept putting myself out there, and now I'm teaching Empower programs all across the country to tons of stylists, right? If you would ask me 15 years ago when I was still in high school, if that's something I ever saw myself doing, I'd say, absolutely not, you're out of your mind. I never wanted to public speak, okay? So just because you're not good at it today doesn't mean you won't be good at it tomorrow. If you have the determination to want to be better at whatever that skill is, You just have to make that decision in your mind not to accept defeat, right? You just have to persevere, even knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. So when you start practicing these scripts and these words, especially if you've had clients for a long time, it's even harder, but you have to just stick to it and just know that eventually you are going to get better at delivering that message. Make sense? Have you ever fought with your spouse or sister or family member, maybe the morning or the day before you're coming into work, and then on the way home from work, you turn down the radio and you start practicing how you're going to respond to your spouse? We've done that, right? Why do we do that?
And then it never comes out right after.
And then maybe sometimes maybe you get a little piece, but you never really
I
go
feel
full say.
like getting myself
Wanna make
worked
sure
up
I'll
for
consult.
it, get
Get
myself
yourself
ready.
worked up.
Pep
You want to
talk.
Ready to
win,
battle.
right?
Yeah.
Blasting Eminem on the way home.
He says this, I'm gonna say this.
Exactly.
But they never say that. They never say that.
But if you're calculating, if you actually practice it, sometimes you might be able to get it to go the way you want to because you did it that way, right? So that's the idea, is we practice our words when we have a fight. If we practice our words just like we do for that example, you're going to be a lot better at what you do because you're already going to go through all the objections in your head. You know everything your client's going to say to you when you try and get them to do something, why they tell you no. So use those opportunities as a lesson to say, okay, I know this is something she had to me last time. How am I going to get her to overcome this feeling she's having? How can I get her to see it differently? Okay? I never look at anything as a loss. I think there's a lesson in every opportunity that presents itself. So when you have that, how are you going to learn from it and actually be able to apply it to grow yourself? Make sense? So do you guys think you can apply some of this to retail?
Yeah?
Sure.
Sure. So the second thing that we focus on is rebooking.
Tiffany got the slap.
Well, she came from a salon that, we did.
Was all walk-ins.
Yes.
It's been pre-booked, so this is new.
Yes. Certain people rebook, but they just always knew when I was there, so they were just kind of.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this a
Yeah.
little bit too in our ones, but rebooking to me, why is rebooking important?
Guaranteeing yourself income.
Gives you control.
Next week
right?
or
Gives you
next
absolute
month.
Control. Two things before I move on to that. The one thing about rebooking and retail and everything else, and Dawn and I talked about it a little bit, is you guys have someone in the front to help you, but I would never let that person control your income. They're supposed to be assisting and helping just to get it done for you, but your job is to get it done. Because if you allow someone else to control your income, it's not a good
We should
place to be.
stand there while they.
Hell yeah. Yep, I would get everything done ahead of time. Or in the consultation, I've already sold them the retail in the very beginning. And they've expressed their need. I said, based off your need, these are the 5 products I'm going to use on you today. And each step when I use them, I teach you about them. And then rebooking,